Hey Lauren, how you doing? I'm putting my video.
Hi, Hero. Hi.
How are you? Good to see you
Oh my
again.
God, good to see you too. I am recording, just FYI. Oh my God, it's so funny. I talked to you a few weeks ago for After Ever Happy, and you're like, oh, never say never, like this, never say never. And I'm like, a fifth After film? You announced it like 2 hours later.
Do you know what was so difficult? Were you one of the? Did you get to see the film before we spoke?
I did. I did
And
see
you
the
and
film.
we were discussing how the ending was interesting,
Yes.
but obviously now there's a to be continued. Do you
Yeah.
know how do you know how difficult it was for me to have to be like to all you guys? Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's an interesting ending. You got to take it how you take it. Like that
Brilliant
was
acting,
painful.
Hero. Brilliant acting. Because I'm just like, I see it like literally like a few hours after our chat, and I know you had to hold it for the announcement, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to pick that bone with you. I knew that I had to have a laugh with you.
I'm so sorry I had to keep that from you. I wish I could have told you, but
No, it's totally good, totally good. And I'm, happy to chat with you for After Everything when that's down the line as well. And
yeah,
of
I look forward
course,
to it.
congratulations on The Woman King, Salt in theaters, absolutely obsessed with it. And I loved this movie so much. I loved it because it was like such a fun role for you. And I was talking to Martin and I was like, this is literally like a charming fairy tale horror film. And it just got me thinking when I'm watching the movie, my first question for you is how hard is it to act dead for that amount of time? How long can you hold your breath? Because it just seems like you are holding your breath a lot of the time during the filmmaking of this movie.
I just froze for a minute, but I think your question was about how difficult it was to play dead.
Basically, yes. And like, I feel like yes, how difficult is it to play Mitch dead for a lot of the first half of the film?
Yeah, do you know what? Initially, it was like really fun because it was like it's like a nice easier way into feeling comfortable on set because like you can just have a slow approach where you literally do nothing. But I realized how like if for example I was playing dead topless, that would be so difficult to regulate the breathing. But I was lucky I was in a bunch of layers with the suit and the waistcoat, so I could kind of pull them out. So I had a bit more room to like breathe really slowly underneath. And another little trick was we put the contact lenses in just because it makes their eyes look more dead and it's a cool visual effect. But it was actually a really happy accident because wearing the contacts protects your eyes from like tearing up. So you can actually go way longer with your eyes open because you've got the contacts. And that was never part of the plan, but it worked out perfectly. So yeah, it was a few I say hours, but a few moments of spending a while on my own sofa, trying not to move at all, and then yeah, I guess you just hope the editing helps you out as well. But I actually really enjoyed doing absolutely nothing. I would love to do it again.
Oh my God. Well, that's a great answer. I love that. I was speaking to Martin earlier, and he said you literally had to be in hours of makeup. Talk to me about the prosthetics around your eyes and also the dead chest makeup. How did that help you just get into character, and how long did it take for them to do all of that?
So I feel like the whole look, like with the chest piece and the face, would have been about 4 or 5 hours. But then if we ever had to, luckily there wasn't a scene with the arm and the leg situation, but with the torso as well. If we did it all at once, it'd probably take about 10 hours. So luckily it was like sometimes two, sometimes four, sometimes six, kind of that ballpark. So I got through a lot of movies on Netflix on my phone and Amazon and stuff, but it does completely transform you. It really, really does. I feel like once everything's on, it is so convincing. You'll look in the mirror being like millimeters away from really trying to find a flaw in it. And these guys, Mark and the rest of his team who did the prosthetics, are incredible. What they're artists, like what they do is amazing. It's so convincing to a point where if I try and touch my own rib cage, my brain expects to feel myself touching the rib cage, and it's always like a bit of a weird moment when you like touch your cheekbones, but you don't actually feel it touch a cheekbone. And that is just a testament to how much it does transform you because you really feel like these prosthetics become part of your body.
It looked so seamless. It looked fantastic. I was like, oh my God, his chest. I was like, how did they do this?
Yeah, that's Mark Cooley and the rest of his team. They've got some amazing credits. They've been doing this stuff, so we were so lucky to be able to work with them on this.
Awesome. Okay, well, there is a shot in the movie. It's like, I think it's meant to be funny. The picture of you on your funeral cake. I'm wondering if any time in your life, whatever occasion, have a family member or friend given you a crazy cake with a face on it. Because my mom's done it for me for birthdays and stuff. But it just got me thinking. I'm like, Hero. It's like the character's funeral, and here they are on this happy cake.
You know what? I remember, but the one I remember, friends from school made me a West Ham cake one time, which was really, really cool. I loved that. But the one I remember most, my dad, when I was really young, we used to watch that 007 Bond films together.
Oh,
And
cool.
he like printed a stencil of 007, and then it was like a chocolate cake with like icing sugar that he poured through the stencil in like a perfect 007 kind of picture. So yeah, big up dad for that one. That was probably the coolest cake I've ever had. But that picture that he's got at the funeral was like taken by a friend at my house, and this was way before we even shot. So we were like, what kind of vibe do we go for? And it was just a clueless kind of like selfie, and they went with it. And I think it worked really well because it's such a kind of like funny, stylized, happy picture to have
Yeah, you're just like
at
so
a funeral.
happy. You're like so happy in it. No, I love that your friend took it. That's awesome. So I love horror movies. I'm a huge horror film buff. I know you're a big film buff as well, and I apologize if you've gotten this question, but what are some of your favorite horror films, like go-to horror films, especially in the month of October? Obviously, for
Yeah.
me, Scream and Halloween, but
Yeah.
what are your go-to horror films?
You know what, secret? I feel like the scary movie franchise, as much as they're taking the mick out of scary, growing up, they were like some of my, that was maybe my favorite franchise. Like me, I remember like that's the kind of film you watch on a sleepover. You watch like all however many of them there are.
Yes.
So I love all of those. But maybe I think Insidious and how many of them are there? Three?
I think there's like three or four, yes, but they're
Yeah.
so scary.
Love those. I feel like horror films, they're really easy to get wrong. They're really difficult to like execute, really well because a number of reasons. But yeah, Insidious is up there. Um, I did love Hereditary. I must admit, I
Oh,
did love
yeah.
that one.
Oh my God, Tony
Um,
Collette was amazing in that.
yeah, do you know what? Yeah, there's more of, I do love horror, but they're some of the ones that are up there, but it's hard to pick because now I'm racking my brain. I love a good horror film actually. You've got, now it's October, we're getting close to Halloween. I'm gonna start binging some horror movies.
Oh my gosh,
What are some of your favorites other than Scream and Halloween?
I love Hereditary too. Like the Scream franchise is like my ultimate favorite. Yeah, so last question for you. I saw in a recent photo shoot that you got a tattoo, and I have to wonder, is it from all the years of having makeup tattoos? Did you finally like say like, "Oh, I'm going to get a tattoo," or did you always want one?
You know
Because
what?
welcome to the club. Like I got them in my 30s, so I didn't
Yeah.
get them till later in life.
I'm glad you're validating my, because it is something that you feel like you might have missed the boat if you leave it too long. You're like, I'm not allowed to anymore because I'm not young and reckless, so I can't do it in that phase. But I'm with you. I don't think it's never too late. But I've always wanted one. Like for a long time, I've wanted one, and you kind of have ideas come and go, and then the idea of what I've got like stuck with me for a while. So I kind of knew I wanted it, and I have some friends who got a bunch of tattoos, and they were always like, "Nah, you won't commit. You'll never get around to doing it." So what prompted me to finally do it was almost a bit of an F you to them to be like, "No, I will. Watch me." But I think if anything, the process of spending so much time in the chair covering it up, if anything, was like a hindrance because I was like, "Oh, that's another half hour every topless scene I do from now on is going to be half an hour doing the touch ups at least."
But a lot
But
of actors do it. Almost
yeah,
every, I mean, look at Tom Hardy. I mean, a lot of the times he has his own tattoos, but like so many actors are covered with tattoos. I wouldn't worry about it like that.
exactly. And what's that? And then ultimately, you can't let these things stop you from doing what you want to do. And the makeup people are getting so good with their ability to cover it up quickly and stuff. So we're
Oh,
fine. We're
it'd
fine.
be fine. It'd be fine. I also want to say, obviously, The Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorite movies of all time as well. My
Mhm.
dogs are named Jack and Sally, so that's like Halloween-esque Christmas, not like horror film, but
Definitely,
that is like a traditional,
definitely in
definitely
that
like
genre.
Halloween
Yeah,
film.
for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
well, it was so nice chatting with you, Hero. I love supporting you and sending lots of love your way.
You
Can you
too.
say anything about After Everything at this point?
Oh, I'm so scared, Lauren. I would love to, but I'm actually so scared. But I
Yeah,
really do think people will love it, and I think I can say that it focuses a little bit more on like Hardin's healing, which I think is something that's really important to me,
interesting.
but to everyone in the franchise for that character. So, yeah, some more of his kind of healing process.
I'm just happy I have some relief after that ending, because I'm sitting here watching
Yeah.
the screener by myself, have no one to talk to about it, and I'm like, what just happened? So
I'm
now
so sorry about that. I'm glad we could finally burst the bubble and know the truth. But
oh my God, I love that. Well, Hero, so nice chatting with you, and enjoy the rest of the press day. And I'm so excited for fans to see The Loneliest Boy in the World. Your performance was so charming, and you're so funny. The dating advice part, oh my God, I loved all of that. Like, I would watch Mitch just do dating advice for an hour.
I would be so happy to play Mitch giving dating advice for an hour. So we'll talk to Martin and see what we can do. But
Well,
thank you so much, Lauren. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Always is.
pleasure talking to you as well, Hero. Bye.
Thanks.
How are you?
Hi, Max. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. I just got finished chatting with your co-star, Hero.
That's okay. We've met before, so I'll allow it.
I know. I'm so excited to chat with you again. So, like, I actually knew about this film when I was talking to you. For everybody's talking about Jamie, and I wish I had time to ask you about it. Congratulations on this film. I absolutely loved it. Your performance, like, you carried this film. So funny, but also like very like haunting and chilling. So, first of all, Max, congratulations to you.
Cheers. Thank you so much. That means the world. Like, yeah, that was obviously my job, was obviously to carry the film. So thank you.
No, you did such an awesome job. I literally loved watching Oliver's journey and his just like awkwardness and talking to people, and just like I love the themes about how important it is just to be kind and form friendships. But my first question for you is, hypothetically, if Jamie and Oliver were to sit down together for lunch or dinner, how do you think that conversation would go? Like, would the two of them get along?
I really don't think they would get on. I think Jamie would probably not let Oliver get a word in edgeways. And they're just from two different worlds. I think that Oliver would be so confused. Like, I think Oliver would just be, I don't think Oliver has ever met anyone like Jamie before. Not in a bad way, I just think they're just polar. In my brain, though they go through similar stories, you know, they're both the outcasts, that, you know, they're the unconventional hero. I just think they're so different and from very different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a very interesting, imagine if I did one of those things like the red table, where I sit down as Oliver and as Jamie, and we do like a little sit. That would be hilarious. I'm sure it'd be absolutely hilarious, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I just like seeing like the two, you completely transform into the roles. So like seeing these like two people talk, it would be so interesting. Well, I loved Oliver's room. Martin actually told me like some of his childhood stuffed animals are in Oliver's bedroom, and he has the pictures of Alf. Obviously, they were in my home office. I love a good poster and good artwork behind me. What did you have in your childhood room growing up? Did you have posters, artwork? What did you have in your bedroom growing up?
I actually, probably not on my wall, but I worked in the cinema when I was 16, so I had like loads of posters of like probably mainly Jennifer Lawrence under my bed.
Oh my God, yes. Good choice.
Yeah, good choice. But yeah, I didn't have anything on walls. I think mainly because I wasn't allowed to mark my walls, because like I would, you know, with blue tack, my parents would just not like me to ruin their walls with holes in the walls and stuff. So that's probably why it never ended up on the wall. So it was kindly stored under my bed.
Okay, I love that. I love the Halloween costumes in the film. I love all of the costumes in the film. What is the craziest Halloween costume you've dressed up as? I've done so many. I mean, I was Rosamund Pike's character from Gone Girl. That was like one of my better ones. But yeah, so what are some of your favorite Halloween costumes?
I think my 18 plus years costumes have always been a little bit like, you know, oh, we're going to go out for a drink, we're going to look cute and also scary, but cute at the same time. I dressed as like a skeleton one time when I was like 18. I went out to like the local club and had a drink, and I was really like feeling myself, not literally, but like I was like enjoying myself.
Oh yeah, you were like, I'm looking good for Halloween.
Yeah, I'm looking good, but like I think one year I went as a do you know there's like a YouTuber called Miranda Sings?
Okay.
And she's this like comedic YouTuber who has like massive red lips, straight backed hair, and she like, I think I went to a Halloween party as her one year, but like always like they're always like really funny and off the wall, or they're like cute. I've never gone as something scary, I don't think.
No, I love that. Well, it seems like the ensemble that you worked with here is fantastic. It seems like you guys truly had a great time on set, especially from what Martin and Hero were saying. What were some of your favorite memories that you had on set? Because I know you guys filmed it in Wales, but what were those, take me back to set, what were those fun memories that you guys did, either filming or in between takes?
Listen, we like had just, it was just so much fun. Like, there's such a mix of people that worked on the film. Like, we spent the 2 weeks we spent in the graveyard. It was at the start of the shoot, and it was just me those first 2 weeks. So in that
Oh,
first 2 weeks,
wow.
we shot like the end of the film, which is the scene with the rose, and we shot all the stuff with him talking to the grave, and then we shot the stuff with the grave diggers. And like, I was kind of really worried about that, being in the graveyard, because they couldn't actually bring any trucks down to the graveyard because it was on like a hill. So they had to walk everything down. But like, that was like a real bonding experience for the crew and myself. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
Yeah,
It's like a reality TV show.
yeah,
But
I have.
it very much felt in the vein of that. Like, lots of people like comically like slipping over in really wet mud, and like it raining and us standing under umbrellas, like really like typically British silly things that we were all doing, and camping out inside the church when it was like a night shoot and stuff, waiting to go on set, it being really freezing. But the stuff with the cast was all of the stuff with the cast was fun. Like, we all lived together for like months in this massive house in Wales, and this gorgeous family in Carmarthen have this gorgeous hotel that's like just a perfect wedding venue. It's gorgeous. This is not paid ad, it's not paid promotion, but they're like really lovely, and they looked after us really well. And me and Hero would just play like Monopoly Deal, and we'd have like a drink when there was like an honor bar, so we'd get back from work and like have a few drinks, and then we'd like write what each other had down. And there was a piano, so some nights me and like Jacob and Nicola would like have a little bit of a piano session. It was just like a really creative, collaborative process. We'd spent a lot of time, obviously in the pandemic, with no one. So like, it wasn't one of these jobs where we got home from work and like shut ourselves in our room. It was like we got home from work and then we actually had time together. It was really fun.
I love that. Well, last question for you. What was the main thing for you to step into Oliver's shoes? I kept like the whole time I'm watching the film, I'm like, I just want to be his friend. I just want to embrace his awkwardness and his ability to like not make friends easily. But like, you just did it in such like a charming and charismatic and sweet way. What was the main thing for you in regards to fully getting into that character?
I think my way in was Johnny Depp's Edward Scissorhands.
I literally said to Martin, this is Edward Scissorhands meets like Swiss Army Man.
Yeah, I would say my main way in tonally was that, and the rest was just like meeting these brilliant actors on set every day and Oliver's one of these people that takes instructions really well and listens and is really in awe of lots of things he doesn't know. So I just got to really be like a sponge and soak up the energy of all the other actors and the creative work that our production designer and our prosthetics designer, hair and makeup team brought, and just really be really wide-eyed. With Jamie, just in retrospect, Jamie's, I would say, the opposite of that, and Jamie is the giver, and you're having to be like on all the time, whereas this one enabled me to step back and just be and sit in it and be a little bit more withdrawn. Loads of movies that like Winona Ryder made in the 80s, like, she's very withdrawn and her eyes are wide, like stuff like that. Like, all those old references really got me into it, and it was just so much fun. I just hope that an audience has like just the best time and is really entertained when they watch it.
Yeah, I love you mentioning Winona Ryder. Like, yes, like obviously Edward Scissorhands and like Girl Interrupted, like that look, that even like The Crucible, like that look that she has, I definitely pick up on some of those vibes. Well, Max, so nice to chat with you again. I cannot wait for fans to see The Loneliest Boy in the World. Saw it twice, so charming, absolutely loved it. Congratulations to you, I really mean it.
Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one.
Yes, I'll see you on the next one, Max. Talk to you soon.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Absolutely adored this film. I'm a huge horror film buff. This film kind of reminded me of like the production design of Edward Scissorhands meets Swiss Army Man. And I'm sure there was a lot of inspirations going into this film, but just talk about the inspiration you had in directing The Loneliest Boy in the World and what horror film movies inspired you as well.
Yeah, good question. I think, the first thing that I guess inspired me away from other films was the screenplay. The screenplay was like, I read it, I loved it, I thought it was amazing. And I think it was kind of, I was inspired by the films. I think I kind of grew up, I really kind of like the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, Halloween franchise, Friday the 13th franchise. But then I also kind of like those movies that kind of cross genre films, like you said, like Edward Scissorhands was definitely the type of film that inspired this, because ultimately, Edward Scissorhands, like a bunch of other films that kind of cross genre, they all have one thing in common, which is a kind of a protagonist who has perhaps an absurd set of circumstances around them, but ultimately has a very relatable journey. There's always a very relatable journey, and normally that of an outsider. So yeah.
No, I love that. And that does make the best protagonist. And I loved watching Oliver and his journey here. I particularly loved what you did with the character Mitch's eyes, the big, horrible, googly eyes. I'm curious how that looked on set. Was Hero wearing maybe like CGI stuff around his eyes, or was most of it done in post? Talk to me about that, because it looked very scary but cool.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Actually, I noticed, I can see Hero on a poster behind you there.
Yeah.
After, yeah, I mean, obviously with Hero, it was easy because Hero is obviously such an incredibly unattractive human being that he was like, he didn't have too much to do.
Hero's been on my home office wall for years now. I've talked to him many times, and I thought he did an awesome job in this film. But and I'm going to ask him this question as well. But like, I just thought it was so cool for you as a director how it looked like on set.
Oh yeah. I mean, basically he actually had a lot of prosthetics. So the scene where he's sat outside is a good example. So obviously he's got the bit on his chest, his ribs. That's a piece he's wearing on his sort of torso there, and then he's got a whole bunch of stuff on his face to make him look like he's rotting away. But then the eyes, he had contact lenses in, and he had prosthetics all around his eyes. So. And then what they did was VFX kind of enhance the eyes just to give them a little more detail in the kind of rotting areas here, because obviously his eyes rot away as the film goes on. So, but Hero had a load of prosthetics on. He was in makeup for like hours every day.
Oh my God. No, I love that. It looked fantastic. Talk to me about where exactly you filmed this. The production design was also amazing, and also the score of the film. That is like my type of score in a horror movie. I loved it because it's haunting and fun at the same time.
Yeah. Thank you. I love the score as well. So yeah, I mean, we shot film in Wales in the UK. And we the reason we shot it in Wales and not in England was because there was these kind of more ambiguous locations that were leaning more into the kind of like Americana, so it was kind of like that, like Oliver's house and lots of things. So we just leaned into shooting in Wales because the locations were so great. So that was kind of, I guess the sort of the idea behind that, I think, really. It was weird because obviously we shot the film in lockdown and we were kind of isolated, shooting a film about a lonely guy. So it's kind of ironic.
Yeah, no, I thought about that, shooting the film in lockdown. How was that different than any other films that you've had to work on previously?
I think the thing was kind of like, if we hadn't all kind of got on so well, then it would have been a real problem because we were like so like isolated and we shoot this movie. And if there'd been some friction or some people hadn't bonded or got on or liked each other or whatever, and that happens, unfortunately that does happen sometimes, that it would have been difficult. But we were so fortunate to have such a fantastic cast. The cast, I can't speak highly enough of all of them. I think they did such an amazing job, and we all became very close. They very fortunate, really talented group of people and a really great crew as well. So yeah, lucky, really.
Yeah, no, I love that. It honestly seems like you guys had a blast making it and that everyone got along. Last question for you. I loved Hero's shirt that said The Grateful Dead. And I love that little like play on the words. I'm curious for any other Easter eggs that audiences might pick up on in the film that you kind of put in there.
What else did we put in there? There is stuff. Trying to think. In Oliver's in Oliver's bedroom,
There's a
few
lot
shots
in the
where,
bedroom.
yeah. So in Oliver's bedroom, obviously there's like sort of when the guys are looking in the wardrobe, to their right, there's a couple of shots later on the film, and you see like there's like an Alf plush in the corner, and then there's a whole bunch of like toys at the end of his bed and the shelves at the other side, and all of those toys were actually all my toys from my childhood. So they were
That's
all
so cool. What a cool little
were,
like Easter egg.
yeah, they were all mine from my mother's house. She had them all, so we put those all in there.
That's so cool. So did you like dream of being a filmmaker since you were a young kid, and now you, and like the stuffed animals that were around you, now you put them in a film? Like I feel like that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, no, it's strange, especially like the Alf thing of like having the Alf plush, and we put it in the film, and Alf sort of became a part of Oliver's journey because the TV show in the film. So no, it's really kind of quite amazing, really. There's something that you, as I say, you kind of grew up with, or you watch, and then it becomes part of the film you're making. It's pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh, well, I love that, Martin. This was such a pleasure to chat with you. I hope you guys had such a fun time last night at Screamfest, and I cannot wait for fans to see The Loneliest Boy in the World. I absolutely adored it, and it was like a charming horror fairy tale.
That's exactly it. I say it's a horror fairy tale. Spot on.
Oh my God, great. Okay, great. All right,
Yeah.
Martin, this was so much fun. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Lauren. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.